Change. It's everywhere. From the smallest particle to the universe itself, everything is in constant flux. But sometimes, it feels as if things are not changing. As if we're stuck in a downward spiral. Things don't change the way we want. In many ways, change is something we desperately need. For every problem we fix, there are multitudes of new ones. We seem to be the creators as well as the byproducts of our own problems. The question is, do we possess the power to change the way we want? Before we know what we are capable of, perhaps we need to know what we're made of. So who are we? What are we? Humanity has asked these questions for ages. In an attempt to find answers, scientists look closer, breaking things down smaller and smaller. Cells, molecules, atoms. In the early 20th century, some of the world's greatest minds began to study this realm of our tiny building blocks. They realized that here, things do not function and act the same way they do in the larger world of classical physics. This study of microscopic phenomena became known as quantum physics. One of our fundamental building blocks is the electron. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists shot electrons through a barrier with two slits. Since a particle is a tiny piece of matter, the pattern on the other side should align, making two lines. Instead, the resulting pattern showed many lines. This baffled scientists. This kind of pattern is seen with waves as they interfere with each other, not solid particles. How could this be? Perhaps the electrons were interfering with each other in a wave-like fashion. They attempted the experiment again, this time sending electrons individually so they could not interfere with each other. However, the result was the same. How could an electron start as a particle, become a wave, interfere with itself as it goes through the slits, and end up on the wall as a particle? Next, they wanted to see which slit the individual electrons were actually going through, so they fashioned particle detectors by the slits. But instead of giving answers, the results yielded even more questions. When the detectors were put in place to observe the electrons, there were only two lines. Instead of acting like waves, they simply acted as particles. This test has been repeated again and again. It's even been tested using larger things such as atoms and even molecules, all producing the same results. These building blocks of matter displayed both particle and wave-like characteristics. Does this mean that things are not as solid as we think? Not only that, we found out that two completely contradictory things can be proven true, all based on whatever the observer chooses to test.
양자 물리학에서 얘기하고 있듯이 우리 이 전자의 세계가 그런 우리가 어떤 관점에서 보에 따라서 물질이 될 수도 있고 그것이 또한 하나의 에너지가 될 수도 있고 그것이 의식이 될 수도 있는 것이다. 또 양자의 세계를 이제는 생명전자라고 이름을 붙인 것은 그것이 하나의 이런 물리적인 차원이라든지 이런 차원이 아니라 하나의 생명적인 차원, 모든 것을 총괄할 수 있는 근본을 이제 얘기할 그런 때가 됐다. 그 생명의 실체인 생명전자를 움직이는 것은 바로 관찰자고, 그럼 관찰자는 어디 있냐? 여러분 마음에 있고, 여러분이 바로 이 변화의 중심이다.
There is no duality between energy and consciousness. They're both the same thing. ultimately what science is now showing us, and what mystics have known from the beginning of time, is that there is no duality between energy and consciousness, that energy is consciousness, is energy, is consciousness. It's all the same thing at the most fundamental level. And that's what life particles and the whole new message about life particles would seek to teach us.
깊은 명상 속에 내가 본 하나의 그 생명전자의 모습을 탐년이라는 시간을 통해서 이 생명전자 카드가 이것이 완성이 된 겁니다.
For ages, in spiritual practices around the world, people have obtained guidance, hope, and power from such images. The life particle sun is an endless, universal source of life particles, the essence of life itself. If you as the observer have a direct influence on matter, you should have the power to turn your thoughts into reality. This has been called the law of attraction, where thoughts become things. Then, why don't we get everything we want? Why are our lives filled with dissatisfaction and unfulfilled desires? Your brain is like a machine that transforms your thoughts into things. Let's say you want to buy a car. That desire sets up an assembly line in your brain to make your desire come true, to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desire. But if your brain is such a powerful transformer, why doesn't it always create the way you want it to? Sometimes there are obstacles that prevent the transformer from functioning well. These come in the form of past memories, negative emotions, physical limitations, distractions, preconceptions, and old habits. In this situation, you can become lazy, complacent, discouraged by past failures, distracted by other more trivial goals, hesitant to even start. When you remove these obstacles, your brain can regain and strengthen its natural ability to manifest. If you focus your attention on positive thoughts, emotions, and actions, it will provide your brain transformer with the power to operate. Your intention has to be stronger than the thoughts, emotions, and habits that are not to align with it.
명상가로서 명상을 하는 과정에서 내 뇌에 대한 가치를 알게 됐고, 그리고 나에 대한 가치를 발견했다. 어떻게 하면 뇌를 잘 활용할까? 어떻게 하면 모든 사람들이 쉽게 뇌를 잘 활용해서 뇌의 진정한 주인이 될까? 많은 사람들이 자기 뇌를 갖고 있지만 자기가 뇌의 주인인지를 모른다. 그냥 감정이나 정보에 노예가 돼 있다. 그래서 take back your brain이라는 얘기를 한다.
The body produces its own electrical activity, from the flow of ions in our nerve cells to the current that keeps our heart beating steadily. This activity naturally creates a magnetic field. In fact, virtually everything on Earth is influenced by a magnetic field. Since the early 1900s, medical researchers have suggested that diseases could be detected in the energy field of the body before physical symptoms appear. Moreover, they were convinced that diseases could be prevented by altering the energy field.
크게 나눠서 생명전자는 에너지를 보면 전기를 띠고 있고 이 자기를 띠고 있다는 거예요. 에너지를 볼 때는. 근데 물리적으로 전기와 자기는 그 근원 하나입니다. 그러면 우리 몸의 생명 현상이라든지 우리가 말하고 대화하고 느낀 여러 가지 이런 현상들, 이것은 이제 뇌과학에서는 하나의 이건 전기 현상이다. 우리 몸 안에 있는 자기 현상이라고 얘기를 합니다. 전자기 현상이라는 거예요. 예를 든다면 우리 뇌는 제일 이 자기가 많이 활용하는 데기 때문에 자기를 많이 띄고 있기 때문에 뇌를 촬영하는 데는 자기 공명장치가 제일 효과적이다. 우리 몸의 그런 감정에 많은 변화를 주는 것은 정기적인 자극보다 자기 작용이 더 많은 변화를 줍니다. 그래서 마음이 불안하고 초조했을 때 우리 몸에 자기장에 영향을 줄 수 있어요. 현재 본인이 하고 있는 일이 그냥 싸운다고 생각하지 자기장에 좀 손상을 주고 있다. 자기장에 대한 그런 보호막을 에너지인데 이걸 찢고 있다. 그럼 그 에너지장이 이 상처를 입게 되면 정서적인 불안이 오게 되어 있습니다. 이런 현재 그래서 사람들이 걸어 다니는 자기장인데 걸어다니는 이 자기 장에 상처를 입은 사람들이 너무나 많다는 거예요. 그것이 바로 내 멘탈 디지즈다, 스트레스다. 이런 면에서 우리가 생명전자를 통해서 내가 생명전자고 내가 자기 장이다.
Magnet meditation is an easy and fun way to sense energy fields. By rotating the magnets, pushing and pulling them, and rolling them back and forth in your hand, you improve focus and the sensitivity to energy and life particles in your body. Using this feeling of energy and pairing it with the power of visualization, you can also use life particle meditation. While breathing deeply and comfortably, imagine pure particles of light flowing down into you. Imagine them filling and surrounding your entire body. This can help you clear away extraneous thoughts and emotions and get centered. Through such meditation, you can improve the functions of your brain and unlock its hidden potential.
First, we need to awaken our brain. So we call that sensitizing. So we strengthen the connection between our body and our brain through physical exercise that helps to improve the coordination and the energy circulation to our brain. And then once the brain is really awakened, we can start to versatilize, which is think in new and creative ways. And when we've done that, then we can refresh the brain. So literally letting go of the negative thoughts and the memories and preconceptions that we have stored in our mind for years prior. So kind of letting go of all of those limiting factors. So when we start from that fresh standpoint, that kind of neutral point, then we can focus clearly on what we want to achieve. So focusing on our goals and really aligning the power of our brain and body to achieve those goals.
To test the effectiveness of life particle meditation, a workshop was held in Sedona, Arizona. 9 people from across the United States attended.
They awakened to the reality that we're life particles, that everything is made up of life particles, and how to allow this energy to flow through them to heal themselves, to create change in their life, to create a new outlook for their life, and also begin making new choices for their life and new behaviors too.
I think the concept of change, like it seems really appealing, like they were saying, just present change to people and, like all this stuff comes up because it just implies like something's going to be different and to be able to trust that the different is good, that it's not going to necessarily be a bad thing.
I feel more at ease in my own body and I feel more at home and I feel comfortable, content and happy and 5 years old again.
In only 2 days and 1 night, these 9 people found confidence and hope for their lives and created change. And they're not the only ones. Many people around the world are experiencing change through life particles.
August 23rd, 2010. That morning I was at work sitting at my desk and the doctor's office called and said I needed to get in to see the doctor immediately. I needed to come right away. I went to the doctor and she started explaining how the MRI had shown a brain tumor. My dad joined the Sedona Meditation Center and started participating in the collaborative healing and sending life particles from class and eventually sending life particles every day to me and my sister. I could feel when he would send them. I would feel sort of a vibration, tingly vibration on my body, and I would feel just hope and love in my heart. And I would imagine the life particles coming down, and it just made me feel great. Last month, on the 1-year anniversary of my surgery, I went and had an MRI. The surgeon's office called about my results, and she said it's gone.
When your brain becomes a perfect transformer and you become a true master of your brain, you get so much more than you intended. Automatically, your awareness expands beyond your individual self and desires. Saints and sages over the millennia called this greater consciousness enlightenment. Ilchi Li describes it as being an absolute state, the 0 point.
여기서 얘기하는 제로는 존재하지 않는 이런 뜻이 아니고 존재하는 하나의 밸런스다는 거예요. 그리고 바로 그 0점에서 플러스도 나오고 마이너스 나오는 것이다. 0은 모든 근원이다. 예를 든다면 잡아다니고 밀어 올리는 그 안전한 그 밸런스 상태, 제로 포인트, 제로 존을 찾으면 이것은 공중에 떠 있어요. 그럼 0점을 이해한 사람 같으면 내가 0점 회복을 해야 되겠구나. 그때 관찰적 의식을 통해서 이것을 신중하게, 아주 신중해야 된다. 바로 0점을 맞추면 건강한 의식을 갖고 생활할 수가 있다. 그때 우리는 감정에 빠져있는 상태가 아니라 감정 위에서 논다. 그리고 감정을 위에서 내려다보고 우리는 조절할 수도 있다.
The 0 point is a state of consciousness that is perfectly balanced. Even very small stimuli can push us out of this state. This is perfectly normal and inevitable. It happens constantly in our daily lives. The important thing is to realize that you don't have to stay in this state. You can center yourself again and recover your balance. When you reach the 0 point, you become a creative observer who can manifest reality from an unbiased perspective. Absolute values are the essential components for all existence. Without them, there is no life. From the moment mankind began to create, we have manifested man-made values. Our focus has been made to pursue these man-made values for a more convenient and comfortable existence. The side effect of this is a competitive world where conflict overrides harmony and creates destruction. These seemingly benign man-made values threaten life as we know it. We feel like we are stuck in these values, controlled by them, unable to escape, but it is simply not true. With an observer's consciousness, we can see how malleable man-made values really are. By changing these man-made values that govern our current society, we benefit our absolute values.
우리가 생존하는데 절대 가치가 있고 인위적인 가치가 있다. 인위적인 가치는 잘못됐다면 그건 바꿀 수 있다는 거예요. 그래서 이제 그 인위적인 가치를 우리가 변화할 때가 됐다. 이것을 변화시키지 않으면 다시 해서 이 한마디로 물질 문명을 바꾸지 않는다면 우리의 미래는 정말로 희망이 없다.
I think we have no choice. I think we have to change things in the right direction. We have to stop the polarization that's happening not only in this country politically, but all over the world.
Can we stop destroying the environment fast enough? Can we stop destroying each other fast enough? Can we stop destroying ourselves fast enough? That's the only question. I think we can.
Using your brain, you can change yourself, your society, and you can change the world. Knowing the world is made of life particles, nothing is too big or solid. Nothing is out of reach, for you are a creative observer. As we keep creating the changes we truly want, we can create a new civilization, one where selfish material values do not supersede the values of the whole. We can create a greater world and a greater future for humanity. What will you choose to change?
I'm happier. I keep saying that, I'm happier than I've ever been in my life.
And it was interesting, when I drove there, I actually knew I was in for a life-changing weekend. I mean, I was just like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be different, you know.
He's like much lighter, and he's more relaxed and less emotional. We are definitely changing our negative emotional habits and creating new good habits.
Life Particle Card really is a prayer accelerator. So rather than just my prayers going out with my limited bandwidth, you know, now I can really accelerate that. I can turn up the volume from 1 to 10.
We got a new cat before I went to Sedona. He was a boy, and all of our other cats were girls. 2 of them at least like to smack him around, and they fight. I sent her like good energy for her and that kitten, just to see what had happened. They don't smack each other around as much.
Made me feel like I'm alive. For the first time, I'm feeling like, I live in every single moment, and whatever happens, I don't feel like I can get stuck anymore, because there is nothing to get stuck. Now I'm finding a lot of opportunities, a lot that I didn't see before.
I was having a bad morning one day, and I just came up and said, my thoughts are not me, but mine. Hey, that's right, I can control this. And that's my biggest change, because that's probably my biggest enemy, is like negative thoughts. But I'm able to, I still have them, mind you, but I'm able to stop it much easier.
And because you especially had said that to me before, all the way to work I'm going, okay, my anxiety is not me, it's mine. And I'm not saying it was perfect when that I got to work and I wasn't still anxious, but I definitely came down a little bit from where and you know how bad I get.
I am Life Particles, vibrating with fun, delight, happy joy, and laughter.